Evgeny, I will count down 5 to 0. In 3 seconds, you can start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Good morning, dear colleagues. I hope that we have checked out everything concerning the technical part. Can everyone hear? Oh, great, thank you. Now we can start our session that is dedicated to the support of small, medium business in SCO countries, considering all this difficult situation that we have now. Actually, today's online meeting is a direct result of what's been going on in the world, as we know. It doesn't come as a secret that small medium business is the basis of our country's economies, and undoubtedly so. These enterprises took on themselves the biggest blow of the coronavirus epidemics. In the entire world, different countries have been trying to take some kind of measures in order to support the industries with the big number of small and medium-sized enterprises. And Russia and Moscow are not an exemption from this rule. We, from very start, began to take very serious measures in that regard, both on the federal level and on the Moscow city level. The measures have been of different kinds, beginning from direct investments, direct financing. Well, we didn't actually make totally direct financing, but co-financing in terms of co-financing salaries, for example, was one of the biggest federal measures of the small, medium-sized business support, which spread further for a big number of industrial enterprise subjects. Lots of them received the deference in terms of tax payments, both local taxes and federal taxes. Moscow took measures to decrease the leasing load on the small, medium-sized companies, and they tried to stimulate big landlords not to increase or decrease leasing rates for small, medium-sized business. And we hope that this will help us to preserve working places. It will help us to preserve small, medium-sized business and stimulate the inner demand, which is very important for Moscow, where the various small price industries are very widespread. The big number of the GDP is big part of GDP is such. So we continue taking measures depending on how the situation develops. We introduce whole packages of measures, and the most important thing here is to actually continue with the measures that we started with back in the springtime. Of course, all these measures do take their toll on the financial situation, on the budget. Only in the recent months, we have taken measures for the amount of $1.5 billion, which is a lot. And so certain negative effects will take place on the budget. But we hope that it's due to our measures that the resurrection of our economy will happen. It will be fast enough so that it will be able to compensate, to make up for the expenses taken at this time. So I guess at this point I will finish with the description of the Moscow measures. If there's any further questions, we can discuss it further digitally. In the meantime, I would like to move to our discussion, and I would like to turn the floor over to Professor Amolans, the extraordinary ambassador of the Sri Lankan Republic in Russia. Dear Ambassador, how did the measures taken in the Republic of Sri Lanka affect the small medium-sized enterprise sector? Which of them helped the situation, which of them didn't change the status of the situation and still were very expensive? Thank you very much.
To provide these relief measures to the sector due to lack of collaterals. The government granted debt moratorium and also the concession on tax. And the banks were asked to lower their interest rates for the SME sector. Some changes were made to monetary policy, and also the government curtailed the importation of non-essential items. Financial assistance which came from other international organizations and the countries were distributed through the banks and the government to improve the SME sector, especially the tourism sector. What are the suggestions that we can make? Number one is that we need to survive this episode of crisis. And the number two is we got to recover after we have survived. The measures should include those that are indispensable to be taken both at global and SCO levels, as economic cycles of a country cannot be separated from economic cycles of the other countries. In addition, each country apart from the global measures, has to institute country-specific and also industry-specific measures. Today, I will be just talking only about the global and the country-specific measures, and time does not permit me to delve into the industry-specific measures in Sri Lanka. The measures should not be just only short-term, because the effects are long-term, and also we don't know how long it will take for the world to curb COVID. At the SCO level, SCO countries can assist each other for collective survival and collective recovery, for which I would like to make a couple of suggestions. Establishing a SCO resource center dedicated for the purpose of strengthening the sector. This will facilitate within SCO a format of exchange of best practices in the banking sphere. For example, how to restructure loans as a vital measure for SME sector. And exchanging the results of the measures taken. We have got wealth of experience of taking measures and what is the outcome. As an example, I would like to refer to the report recently, a few days ago, presented by the Russian VTB Bank to His Excellency Vladimir Putin on comprehensive measures implemented by the bank and to adapt its banking products in the support of local businesses, including SME. So we may learn from the experience of VTB. Number two, taking measures to create and disperse new knowledge on the effects of COVID on MSME. What might happen in the near future? Suggesting measures to be taken based on sound scientific principles. And also the monitoring the outcome of the measures taken will help countries to learn from each other, especially for those countries which takes longer time to recover. We know the recovery from pandemic is not going to be uniform across the globe. The pandemic will fade away from the world only at different speeds. Scientific knowledge thus created during the current epidemic will become useful not only now in the short term, but it will help us to manage the similar catastrophes in the future, even decades later. Number three, economically sound SCO countries can provide assistance to member countries by financial and other means through donations, soft loans, but without preconditions, while ensuring that such assistance is used for the purpose for which they were given, not just for household day-to-day consumption. What are the national measures that we can take? Let me cite a case report from one Dr. Gunawardena in Sri Lanka. A small garment was started by a young lady. She did not have experience in the sector. She was just an assistant accountant. She had started with one standard domestic sewing machine. She was never worked in the garment trade. Within a short time, she started receiving orders from some upmarket shops and continued her business smoothly. She had a production line with more than 30 machines, employing 18 females at the time of the COVID struck. Previously, East Sunday terrorist bomb attack in April 2019 had its toll on her business. Due to the disruption caused by the bomb attack, there were delays in receiving payments and she could not pay 3 installments of a loan taken from a leading local bank. The bank initiated legal action on her assets given as collateral. Further, the name of the enterprise has gone to the Credit Information Bureau of Sri Lanka. So amidst these things, the COVID came and she was trying to negotiate with the bank on some terms. Just before the COVID struck, she had received a large order for the Sri Lankan New Year sales in April. This happened in February, but she could not deliver it in April. At present, she is struck with that stock. She has not received payments for the supplies delivered even prior to February, and shops have still not come into full operation. However, the beauty is that she has not given up. She has started sewing face masks for the local market and is making an operational profit to keep the company going, and she is surviving. At present, She is faced with a severe working capital issue and has approached a bank which agreed to release a 1 million Sri Lankan rupee loan, but has backtracked as the name is in the Information Bureau. According to her, she has not been able to obtain any relief measures through the packages announced by the government for the same reason. It is rather disappointing to note her plight. She, like so many others in the sector, are fighting the battle. The government relief packages could sometimes be easily enjoyed by influential parties who do not need such assistance. The banks are also sometimes prefer to support traders and large-scale enterprises, not the small ones. This type of situation, as in her case, leads to entrepreneurs to seek assistance of private microfinance entities which charge very heavy interest. What are the major national recommendations that I can think of at this stage? For Sri Lanka and the other SCO countries, we might think of establishing task force and dedicated MSME portal. Make the MSME sector fully aware of the current status of the pandemic and the prediction for the future. So it will help them to develop resilience and plan for the future. We need to take measures to strengthen the spirit of entrepreneurship. The psychosocial effect of COVID can certainly tarnish the strength that they have. Sector must be encouraged to look for new opportunities and innovation. The face mask that I just mentioned is one such. And also to delve into new areas hitherto unknown. There may be a lot that we do not know. Educating the sector on business resilience planning would be most helpful. The countries can learn from each other. Establishing virtual business service centers, and we don't have very many in our countries, and train our entrepreneurs on e-commerce and online marketing skills. What we have seen is even the older generation learn these things very quickly. For this purpose, the countries needs to invest on telecommunication services to all the areas of the country. That is mandatory, and not just for now, but for the future as well. We need to transform, at least in Sri Lankan setting, the informal unregistered sector to formal and registered sector. Then we can address their issues in a more effective and a meaningful manner. Each country has to initiate its own research on the effects of COVID on the sector and also how to mitigate them. I'm very glad to say some of the reputed universities in Sri Lanka, like University of Runa, has taken this task head on. Banking policies must be SME sector friendly, and state may have to act as a guarantee, as entrepreneurs may not have collaterals to negotiate with the bank. Looking at the future, our education system in SCO countries needs to look at their curricula to equip the youth in the knowledge and the skills required for business, and especially on surviving during crisis times. As I said earlier, I will refrain from going into details about the specifics of industry-related measures like tourism, tea, apparel, and migrant workers due to time constraints. And I take this opportunity once again to appreciate the opportunity given and I wish you the very best for a good forum. And thank you, and spasiba.
Спасибо большое, господин посол.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. And that's very curious, just quite interesting, because in many countries offshore, the mineral and the raw material economy is taking a significant part of the general economy, and maybe one of the small amount positive news out of this crisis is that the shadow economy, the gray economy, is decreasing if the measures taken by the government will be effective, and vice versa. In case the measures which we take give small effect, we make the shadow economy enlarged. So this is the serious indicator. Thank you very much. And the next speaker is Mr. Shipink, the President of the National Department of India and Deputy of the President of Sandro. The floor is yours, Mr. Kimha. India is the biggest economy, and a big amount of medium and small enterprises. It's all different, a big diversity. We'd like to understand how you get out of the present situation. How can you explain how you are doing? And we understand that it's not easy. Good morning. Thank you very much. I'm glad to see you. I will be in English if you are not against that.
Good morning, everyone. Very nice to see everyone this morning. Your Excellencies, it's a pleasure to be here. I'd like to say that this is a wonderful opportunity to talk about small and medium-sized enterprises, and particularly what India is doing. But I think it's extremely important to think of the whole context of the whole region, which represents 40% of the world's population and one of the youngest populations in the world, where we need to make sure that we create enough jobs. In the wake of the pandemic, I think the thing that keeps everyone up at night is how will we deal with the slowdown in the global economies and the sustained creation of jobs. And all of us know that really jobs are created by small and medium-sized enterprises, and the vibrancy of the small and medium-sized enterprise sector helps create the jobs we need. In India, as an example, we need to create about 1.2, 1.3 million jobs a month for the next 30 years. And that's a huge challenge and a huge opportunity at the same time. As mentioned by Secretary General Norov during the 19th meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Ministers meeting responsible for foreign economy and foreign trade activities on October 28th, the SCO member states need to enhance collaboration in promoting the action plan and the MOU that was agreed on promoting cooperation within the SCO in the field of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises between the ministries of the SCO member states responsible for foreign economic and foreign trade activities, which was approved in 2018 in Qingdao. From my point of view, I would like to really talk about two main things that I think are critical, and then I will ask my colleague, Dr. H.P. Kumar, who is a great expert in the field, to talk a bit more about what India in particular is doing at the moment. But for me, the critical thing is entrepreneurship. Our honorable speaker before me talked about the spirit of entrepreneurship and also talked about education and reskilling. Both of these are very, very critical issues. And the question is, how do we actually manage to create a spirit of entrepreneurship when people are losing jobs, when economies are slowing down, and when people feel that there are real challenges ahead in terms of mobility, in terms of this human suffering of people relocating to different locations, being unable to travel, and so on. I think that the technology revolution we are seeing at the moment offers us a very unique opportunity and big risks. McKinsey has estimated that $15 trillion of the global labor force GDP creation is going to be wiped out over the next few years as a result of artificial intelligence and as a result of robotics and automation. That is a huge number. How are we going to replace those jobs? And how are we going to reskill the workers to actually come back into the economy in a productive way and become, and sustain their livelihoods in a very difficult moment? I think the core is going to be education for young people to look at the future of technology and what technology is doing to diverse areas, from mobility to agri-technology to biotechnology and so on. I think reskilling of people that are losing their jobs is going to be a huge task, and we again can work together to do that. And again, in various sectors that we think are critical, such as pharmaceuticals, agro-technology, and many other sectors, tourism, etc. I think the spirit of entrepreneurship needs to be built because technologies are global. I think rather than people trying to reinvent the wheel, we need to connect up the economies of different countries through digital inclusion, digital collaboration, and of course, human collaboration and mobility, so that we can actually create an ecosystem for entrepreneurship around the world, and particularly in our region, which will allow us to create the jobs we need over the coming decade. Governments are doing a lot. I will ask after this Dr. Kumar to talk about what the Indian government in particular is doing. However, my one suggestion is that as the governments pour capital into the economies, trillions of dollars of capital into the global economy, it is important for us to really look at this as an opportunity to build for the future rather than to just try and shore up what was done in the past. We need to build an economy that's focused on the ESG goals, objectives, renewable energy, green technologies, environmentally considerate businesses, sustainable businesses, and businesses that allow a world that is more equitable in terms of the distribution of capital and wealth. I would now ask Dr. H.P. Kumar to please say a few words from our Indian delegation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Khemka. Thank you very much for inviting me. My greetings of the day to all the distinguished speakers, participants, and office bearers of this session. We are deliberating on a very important issue of new initiatives, new steps for growth and support of the MSME sector, SME sector particularly. Well, I will catch up where Mr. Khemka left with regard to creation of employment. The Indian MSME sector, we call it as micro, small and medium enterprises sector. Micro, of course, constituting the bulk of the MSMEs. So it's a very big, gigantic sector in the country, close to 63 million enterprises and employing almost 112 million people in the country. So it is the second largest employer next only to agriculture, and providing employment to almost 25% of the total employment in the country. So it's a very important sector for the Indian economy. And with regard to the contribution in terms of production, it contributes 45% of the total industrial production and 40% to the country's exports. So we can understand the significance which the government gives to the growth and promotion and growth of this sector. Well, COVID pandemic has affected this sector quite significantly as universally in all the countries, and the government has taken various initiatives in India to revive the sector and to provide the stimulus package, in fact, to the sector. Well, since a large number of enterprises are in the informal sector, so there was surely a constraint with regard to reaching out to these enterprises and the workers, in fact, who got affected because of this COVID-19. But the institutional framework that the country has established over the years helped a lot, in fact, in reaching out and in mitigating the hardships and problems of the sector. To be specific with regard to the relief measures which the Government of India initiated, I would like to mention a few of them for the information. One is the problem to obviate the problem to remove the liquidity constraints of the MSME sector, which was one of the biggest issue facing the sector after this COVID. And the Government of India came out with a stimulus package for providing liquidity support, an emergency credit line guarantee scheme of equivalent to $40 billion was established. It gave tremendous support in terms of the financial inputs to the MSME sector to revive and recuperate and face the hardships successfully during the COVID time, and also restart the operations gradually after the lockdowns were lifted. The other issue was with regard to the compliances. The government of India came out with all the institutions related with the MSME sector came out and provided relief in terms of compliance burdens of the MSMEs, so that they do not suffer any adverse effect due to the need for compliances during that period. So that is another measure which the government and institutions came forward. The third, of course, there are a lot of accounts, as we heard earlier from the distinguished speaker, that a lot of accounts became stressed and were on the verge of shifting to non-performing. So the banks, of course, were facing difficulty, as on the other side, the borrowers also. So there was a need to bring out some measures, some relief measures. And for that purpose, also the government of India and the central bank came out very strongly and provided, not only the liquidity window in terms of the distressed fund of close to 2.7 billion US dollar, 20,000 crore in Indian rupees, but also helped, in fact, postponing the classification of such accounts into non-performing. So that also helped the MSMEs in the whole country, in fact, to face that problem, to avoid that problem. And the another important aspect which the government brought out was the fund of close to $6.75 billion, that is Indian rupees 50,000 crore, for providing equity support to the SMEs. In fact, other than in addition to the loan and credit support, they also needed equity funding, and that is how this fund of 50,000 crore Indian rupees, equivalent to 6.75 billion US dollar, has been established. So that is another very strong measure which the government has taken. But then, in addition to these financial initiatives and the measures taken, there are other initiatives which the government of India has been, through its various institutions, has been undertaking for the promotion of MSME sector and also boost the entrepreneurial culture in the country. And I would like to name very few of them. Of course, there are many programs. The Startup India program, which the government started, has seen a lot of surge in registration of new enterprises, new MSMEs with new ideas and innovations. More than 30,000 new enterprises have been registered as startups by the government of India, and all of these enterprises are going to have new products, innovative products, new ideas, and set up new companies in the country. A lot of them, I think more than 10 of them, have already become unicorns over the last 5 to 7 years. So there is a great potential of promoting this startup culture in the country, and there is a host of institutional framework which is already available through incubation centers, through IITs and universities and technology centers, which are helping these new budding entrepreneurs to set up new enterprises with the innovative ideas and products. So these are some of the initiatives which the government of India has taken, and the institutional framework in the country is so strong. There are specialized institutions across the country, in the states, in the districts, in the separate ministries have been created, like Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Then there are institutions like Small Industries, specialized bank like Small Industries Development Bank of India, National Small Industries Corporation, and there are a host of other institutions which are helping. Now, for marketing support, a government e-marketplace has been established, in fact, to provide help to these MSMEs so that they can become vendors to the government. So this is the existing framework and the way that the Indian MSMEs have been coping with this COVID pandemic problem. But talking of the way forward, the future initiatives which can be taken by SCO, organization, I could suggest that until this pandemic remains and we are able to come out of the pandemic, we should develop a facilitating environment for virtual collaborations between the SMEs of SCO countries And after, of course, the pandemic problem is over, we can have the physical networking and collaborations also. But at the same time, looking at the competitive strengths of different countries of the SCO member states, there is a need to build ecosystem and facilitating environment so that more and more trade deals and B2B collaborations can take place, joint ventures, possibilities, investments in each other countries, and this can result into creation of more employment and entrepreneurial development. Thank you very much.
Господа, спасибо большое, господин.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kemka and Mr. Kumar. Of course, that are very serious measures taken for support of small medium business. But what Mr. Ambassador mentioned about the mutual integration and establishing the ecosystem in which the business can cooperate and interact, I personally did not see any facility which can in reality help and promote the business on international level between our countries and effectively. So if there are such initiatives, maybe we do not know them, but we don't have such a feeling that they are sufficient or successful. I see that you're actively working over these platforms, and the only that I do not know neither is it internal for Indian market or it's international, and are there any Russian companies participating?
Is that a question to me?
Это вопрос вам.
Yes,
Well,
this is a question for you.
No, in fact, I couldn't get the question fully, but what I heard, the last few sentences is that the possibilities of collaboration between the members of SMEs of SCO countries. What I was talking is that until, of course, we are in the pandemic stage, that it is only the virtual collaboration which is possible between the countries, member states. But after the pandemic, of course, the collaboration with regard to joint venture possibilities and creating a facilitating environment which can really help both sides, all the SMEs of all these countries, to enter into more and more trade deals and joint venture possibilities and investments. So, of course, Russia is a big partner in this SCO entire organization, and they will be surely looked after, and they will be surely taken as a great partner by any country. And the possibilities of collaboration in various sectors are open, and one can really look at the possibilities depending upon the competitive strengths of different countries.
Я задал вопрос, есть ли...
Yes, I asked the question, are there any representatives of Russian companies on the facilities on your facility, or is it inside India facility? Is it for Russian SMEs as well?
Well, Russian SMEs are, there is no restriction with regard to foreign companies operating in India, and all these facilities are available to any of the foreign enterprises. Also, there are norms with regard to investments by foreign companies, and they are very liberal norms. So I am not aware about the specific Russian companies, but I am sure the Russian companies and joint ventures are existing in India, and all these facilities are available to them.
Хорошо. Спасибо вам
Okay,
большое.
thank you very much for this answer and information. And we continue the speech. The deputy of the Commerce Chamber of Tajikistan Republic, Rustan Akramov.
I would like to say that a lot of countries
Вирусом, мы, в принципе, очень плотно работаем с Таджикистаном. Сколько нашей экономики?
We're working with Will you please tell us about the particular S&P, particular measures for small and medium-sized business that are being taken in your republic now? And could we say that the measures that have already been taken demonstrated their effectiveness? Because many countries say that despite lots of financing contributed, the measures in terms of small, medium-sized business haven't been so effective. Well, thank you very much. Good morning, dear colleagues. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers, the government of the Moscow of Russia and the Department of the International Relationships, our colleagues in the Russian Federation, and the Secretary of the SCO Summit. Of course, I would like to say that the current year for all of us happened to be very difficult, and the situation that we've been dealing with in terms of our small business and medium-sized business and that the Kyrgyzstan Republic has to deal with, it kind of encouraged us to come forward with initiatives, with a number of initiatives, and we're trying to put those initiatives into realization. If we take a look at our statistics and our numbers, according to the presidential agency of data, of statistics, more than 17,000 of small business enterprises unfortunately stopped working, have been liquidated in the past several months. But the number of those working for the 1st of October of this year is 337,000. And more than 300,000 are the individual entrepreneurs. So the general number of the functioning working subjects, functioning enterprise, according to the previous, the same period of the previous year, increased by 2.4%. It's more than 7,000 enterprises. Of course, part of where it came from was the anti-crisis measures taken by the Tajik government during the pandemics, which really had a positive effect on the increase of the small and medium-sized business in the Tajikistan Republic. But some companies and enterprises that work directly in the area of tourism, hotel business, recreational business, unfortunately stopped their activities. And of course, the Trade Chamber of the Republic of Tajikistan is conducting an active work to support its members, of whom 70%, more than 70%, in fact, are small, medium-sized businesses. As of today, there are more than 800,000 small and medium-sized businesses members of the Trade Chamber of Tajikistan. But I would like to mention at this point that the measures that are being taken in Tajikistan concern not only those members of the Trade and Commerce Chamber, but it really goes to cover more than 2,000 companies, most of whom are part of the small, medium-sized entrepreneurship. And of course, we would like to share some of that information, mostly concerning our initiatives that we have taken during the pandemic times, with the purposes of providing consulting services for our entrepreneurs. We opened a hotline that's been already functioning for 5 months, and according to our data, in the past 5 months after this hotline was opened, more than 155 entrepreneurs received applied to us and received information from us. Most of them are engaged in small, medium-sized business, and they received competent answers to the questions they asked. And to provide that information for them, we work closely with the experts from the governmental agencies and ministries representing the authorities of our country, and they gave very qualified, competent answers. And of course, with the purpose of increasing the awareness of the business community of Tajikistan about the current situation, in the period of the COVID pandemics, from the spring up until now, we have conducted more than 55 various events, seminars, roundtables, conferences, and so on. And mostly, the themacy of these events was, of course, related to the current pandemic situation. For example, the influence of the COVID pandemics on the export and import operations, post-crisis management of business, and a lot of other similar topics and events. Of course, we try to involve our international experts, and we're working in close cooperation with our partners in the areas of development. We work closely with such international partners accredited in the Republic of Tajikistan. We have conducted several rounds of research, and one of them, one of the most interesting ones, was to learn for the time being just how many of our entrepreneurs are able to use their own internet sites, internet pages, or any kind of electronic platforms, basically any kind of electronic resources. And of course, we understand that it's extremely significant in this situation to develop the processes of informatization for the area of business that we're discussing. And of course, it's not just additional resources that increase the effectiveness of our companies, but to provide a wide variety of possibilities to optimize the national economic space and to create conditions for equal, fair, honest, and mutually beneficial opportunities of cooperation. In addition to that, considering the importance of further promotion of international contacts and contacts between the representatives of Tajikistan and their counterparts from other countries during the pandemic times, I would like to emphasize that it would be extremely good, it was extremely good to conduct a dialogue between and among business communities at various electronic platforms that's already taken place. We are using these platforms very actively, and having used them, we conducted so many international communication events, like business councils, boards, meetings, considering the extraordinary situation of the COVID pandemics. Within the framework of the Uzbek Prime Minister and his visit to Tajikistan, we managed to have an online discussion of the business councils between the two republics, the republics of Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and the business circles, wider business circles of these two republics, in which more than 300 entrepreneurs on both sides took place. Of course, all these events were taken within the framework of various measures, including hygienic measures related to the pandemics. Also, our statistics are telling us that now that the pandemic times are ongoing, the amount of electronic trade is increasing. It's increased greatly. Considering these circumstances and providing enough attention to these circumstances, we understand that this question is very important. At our board meetings, we decided to create a special electronic conference council within the government of Tajik Republic, which was headed by Mr. Jubakhon Kanjakshin Jubakhon, the current head of the council. This platform is open, and until the end of the year 2020, we are planning its first meeting. The participation is open both for the participants of the external economic trades, as well as for the representatives of ministries and representations of Tajikistan, as well as our partners in the area of development. And after we have placed this announcement, the announcement that we have already created this council and that it's already functioning, on the part of the international organizations and the business community of Tajikistan, the ministries and various governmental organizations of Tajikistan, a lot of interest appeared in further participation in this council, and it's also important that we managed to change certain legislation points. We in our republic still do not have a comprehensive law on electronic commerce, and now we are creating a task force with the purpose of creating such a law in the Republic of Tajikistan. Other than this, I would like to mention that, as you probably already know, in many countries there have been currently conducted online events such as exhibitions, fairs, that greatly contribute to the export potential with our partners. At the end of this year, 26th of November to the 17th of December of this year, we're planning to conduct an online exhibition that will include all exporters of Tajikistan. And considering, first of all, your participation, dear colleagues, of this event, I would like to invite you, as well as all the other SCO countries representatives, to take part in this exhibition as visitors. And we also have a plan of conducting an international exhibition with the participants from all over the world. Here I would like to also suggest that within the framework of cooperation of SCO country be considered the question of organizing an online exhibition of goods produced in the SCO countries. And of course, I really hope if this idea finds support among the members of this organization, it will further accelerate and alleviate our cooperation and make it much more effective. And at the end, I would like to say that given the fact that Tajikistan is primarily an agricultural republic, we, in cooperation with the Agricultural Bank and the Ministry of Agriculture, we have created an electronic information platform, produce.com, which you can visit and on which you can get acquainted with various agricultural products of our republic. At the end, I would like to thank you all for your attention, and I would like to wish you health. We are open for cooperation, and we are open for the consideration of various interesting, mutually beneficial projects that would be useful both for SCO countries and our business community. Thank you very much. Wish you good luck. Thank you. Thank you, Mazara Abramovna. We will definitely attend your expert possibilities exhibition, and we're ready. Yes, we are ready to consider the proposals about the joint exhibition within the SCO's framework, virtual exhibition. Yes, why not? But if to look into this question slightly deeper, it would be good to understand the format of this event. Of course, this practice is usually related to the internet catalog that cannot be compared to a real one. If the participants of this event, of this exhibition, have any other ideas about how to create such an exhibition so that it would be at least partly reminiscent of pre-coronavirus normal offline exhibitions, that would be also very useful. Thank you very much anyway, once more. Now I would like to turn the floor over to Mr. Batimov Ognyahomovich. He's a deputy head on small and medium-sized business at the Republic of Uzbekistan. I would like to ask you to provide information for us about the current situation in the small and medium-sized businesses in your republic, and about any measures of support, if there are any measures of support, or perhaps you chose another model, maybe you just helping directly population that will then create some kind of demand. As I understand, so far none of our participants have tried to implement that sort of measures, kind of like emphasize the population support so that create inner demand. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Unfortunately, my boss is in the business meeting, so I will be speaking on his behalf. I'm head of the external management of our republic, and I would like to thank all of you for being here. As we know, the development of entrepreneurship is very important for the development of every country. Small, medium-sized business is extremely important. It contributes to creating employment and improving the economic level of the country. Statistically, more than 90% of all enterprises in the world are small, medium-sized. Today in Uzbekistan, there are almost 600,000 small, medium businesses, of whom two-thirds are medium-sized business. Of course, the times of the COVID pandemics has had a very negative effect on many economies, including ours, as a result of which many companies have been put in a very difficult situation. There's problems with logistic disruptions, infection of the personnel, very serious problems with future perspectives. And of course, in this situation, particular measures of stimulation have to be found. Uzbekistan is part of this situation, where a lot of such measures have been taken.
In particular, in period of pandemic, the Central Bank of Uzbekistan and have enlarged the list of the remote services. According to the central bank, the amount of the users of the remote services is more than 10 million people. Half of the million of them are juridical enterprises and juridical entities. Many banks of Uzbekistan made a concession and support for the users, and they provide the services without any fixed payment. And also the remote system for study of the claims and applications for the physical and juridical entities. You have a right for the opening, and 80% of the entrepreneurs who have suspended the activity in the period of pandemic have been provided and free from, and at the present free from the debts and taxes, and almost 1/3 have been suspended their activity. This measure helped them to reconstruct and reestablish the activity. The taxes for the land and for the property have been cancelled in order to support the business, and also the decree was signed for the measures for the support of entrepreneurs. In this document, it gave a tax support which gives a chance to survive, and I can briefly describe this document. For 2 months was taken down the rate of the social tax for the small enterprises and companies from 12 to 1%, but in case that they preserve the payment for the workers and the volumes not less than 50% of the same salary of February this year. Also free from the tax for the property and the land tax, all the subjects and objects of the small medium enterprises like cinemas, markets, and the juridical entities carrying out logistic services and renting facilities. Small business and small companies were rid of the taxes for April, May this year for land and for the property, and also without any rate of interest, the loans were given for these companies. Until the 1st of September this year, we provided the postponement of the payments without the prohibition to take the fines and percentage for the taxation. Until the end of July, the small business which are working not less than a year in application to the customs service can apply to the postponement of the non-consumer goods for 120 days. Also, support of the entrepreneur activity have covered partially the percentage of the expenses on the credits of commercial banks. The measure was also for the investment credits in the national currency and the main percentage rate of the central bank. This is the first year of the credit agreement. On the credit up to $500 million, $500,000 given for the enterprises for the period of 1 year. Also, I should define that before the pandemic, the head of the country made an outstanding measures to support small and medium business and entrepreneurs. As it is known, Uzbekistan, the new era of development of its economy, within the last couple of years, they were taking a lot of decisions for improvement of business and support of the business activity. Were taking more than 100 measures. The special agency for the entrepreneurs was founded. That is also proven. And I would like briefly describe our activity. Our agency was established previous year in August, and the decree stipulates the agency as a plenipotentiary body for implying the state policy for support of small and medium businesses and enterprises. The main task of agency is to enlarge and increase the effectiveness of the systems of support and involvement of the wide amount of population into the business and entrepreneurship. In structure of our business, as I have before indicated, the State Foundation for the Support of the Entrepreneurial Activities, the main task of this foundation is to provide the financial support as a warranty and pledge, and also the support for the credits. Also, according to the government decisions, the subjects of entrepreneurship can get the single time financial support as a cover of the rate and the warranty. And I would also remark that months ago there was a law dedicated to the support of the entrepreneurs and involvement of the wide range of population to entrepreneurial activity. And according to this, there is implementation of state measure support and training for skills of entrepreneurs. 80% of the expenses for training the population is taken by our foundation. People who successfully graduated and who received the certificates about the learning of the skills for entrepreneurship, they will receive the credit line up to 30 million soon. People who established after these courses, the companies will get up to 25 million sums, and any other types of the pledge according to the present legislation. That's why this year in Uzbekistan was announced as a year of digitalization, and in every moment in the pandemic we should find the positive side. In many of our enterprises in the subject of small business and the private sector have moved to the digital economy, to the digital commerce, because there is no other way out. And of course, negative consequence influenced on our exporters. This is almost 30% of all the export. This is the agriculture, and for them they were provided the postponement of payment, the land tax and the property. Briefly, I would like to tell about this main measures of support of the small medium business in the period of pandemic. If there are any questions, I'm ready to answer them. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. And we have e-commerce strongly developing since the moment of starting the pandemic. And I should not say that it was not developed before in Moscow, but nevertheless, the statistics shows very rapid growth of e-commerce proportionately of online sales, which did not grow in a long period of time. Of course, it may not last as it is. Maybe partially it will come back to offline. But at the present time, we should firmly say that there is a significant growth of online communication and online business. This is, as a matter of fact, for us. And continue. And we would like Sultan Rehman to tell us about the measures which are done by the Pakistan Republic for support of small and medium business. Sheikh Sultan Rehman, Vice President of the Federation of Pakistan Chambers of Commerce and Industry. Now it's your turn, please.
Thank you. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. A very good morning and good afternoon to participants, depending on your location. A vibrant stratum of small and medium enterprises is critical for the growth and development of economies. SMEs are indispensable to the progress of the nations. Countries all over the world associate their national development to a strong, thriving SME sector. Furthermore, SMEs hold great potential in initiating domestic-led growth and reinforcing the of the economy in the period of cutthroat competition. Development of SMEs is the need of the time, as this sector contributes to the society in many ways: employment creation, human resource development, value addition to the economy, and innovation in the sector. Despite the immense significance of a well-established SME sector, the member countries of SCO region need to reprioritize and focus more on the development of SMEs to fully tap the potential and lead to economic advancement. It needs a comprehensive action plan and sustained efforts to achieve a globally competitive sector, strengthen and enhance economic empowerment and harmony in the region. As far as Pakistan is concerned, SMEs constitute more than 80% of all enterprises and significantly contribute towards inclusive economic growth. To further fortify the efforts in strengthening SME sector, Government of Pakistan enacted an SME policy in 2007, which aimed at providing a long-term development of SME sector and a sound implementation mechanism which scope covered areas pertaining to ease of financial accessibility, human development, technological upgradation, and a healthy business environment. All these aspects of this policy are directly interlinked with a thriving SME sector which has unlimited potential to turn around the economy of Pakistan. SMEs account over 3.2 million business enterprises in Pakistan and have Pakistan's SMEs undoubtedly have the potential to contribute considerably more than their current share of about $86 billion towards GDP. SMEs contributed 30%, 78% of industrial employment. So this shows their importance and significance in the economic. Nearly 78% of the non-exports, 25% of exports of manufactured goods, besides sharing 35% in manufacturing value addition in Pakistan. In Pakistan, SMEs collectively contribute an estimated 40% to GDP and over 40% to exports. The importance of further regional economic development, including the implementation of multilateral initiatives of the SCO member states, facilitating mutually beneficial cooperation in the accelerating economic growth expanding links in the fields of transport and energy, increasing investment, innovation, and employment. I think we should make countries advantages in resource structure finances to achieve SCO. Are aware COVID-19 pandemic has affected the SME sector the most due to lockdown. Therefore, financial support measures as well as access to cheap finance are required. Our considerable capacity building measures for human resource development, technical training are needed to empower SMEs to develop to its full potential. Lastly, we think establishment of risk at all seamless communication of SMEs with government authorities would be of great help. I also think that increased interaction between member countries would also be beneficial for the promotion and development of SME sector. Thank you very much.
Большое вам спасибо.
Thank you very much, Mr. Riham. And in Moscow,
Функционирует большое количество структур, которые
there are a lot of structures functioning which make a support for small and medium enterprises.
Ну и среди них выделяется
And among them, there is one of most significant, one of the big initiatives of the last time. This is establishment of in Moscow Innovative Cluster. And thanks to this, I would like to ask Alona Dolgo, the head of the development of international cooperation of the foundation of Moscow Innovation Cluster, to tell us a little bit about how the cluster supports the innovative business in our difficult time. Alena, the floor is yours. Thank you very much, Evgeny. Hello, dear colleagues. Many thanks for invitation to make a speech at this session. And in fact, this is a very perfect facility for exchange of the experience in order to share the best practices for the support of the small and medium business. As it was indicated in the beginning, the small and medium enterprises are playing a very significant role for the economy of the Moscow city. 22% of the tax income of the city are supported by this subject, and the territories of Moscow, small and medium business and small and medium business enterprises give actually almost two for Moscow city, what is quite significant, and this is a significant number for Moscow. That's why the city is making a lot in order for such a difficult period connected to the pandemic to support small and medium enterprises. And Moscow the last years is doing a lot in order to develop and implement the innovations, in order to establish the conditions and different tools of support for innovative business, for developers of the technological solutions and products. And one of these measures is the big ambitious project, which is almost 2 years is implemented by the city, Moscow Innovation Cluster, which I represent today.
In our country, there's a number of innovation centers and innovation clusters. At the same time, most of them are kind of regional. Usually it is a particular territory, particular district, perhaps a business center in the location town. If we're speaking about the Moscow Innovation Cluster, this is one of the first projects without the particular territory, but with the digital registration. namely digital platform iMoscow, which unifies several services, several tools for business support, and it unites several business players. And it's extremely important because the innovations are a collective product of development. They have no borders. The cluster, as of today, creates infrastructure based on the platform iMoscow, where for the business that develops innovations, that takes care of developing innovations, there are available services, including leasing business spaces, various stock market access, piloting platforms that allow to pilot different kinds of innovational developments. At the same time, alongside with our colleagues, we create and offer various development programs for various startups. A Moscow Accelerator, a number of technological competitions that aim at connecting various players within one sector with the purpose of supporting young and beginning projects and connect the competences, knowledge, and expertise of senior partners. In that cluster, a various number of financial initiatives is implemented. They have a special role in the condition of pandemics, the COVID pandemics, and the prevention of socioeconomic consequences. And here we try to provide all these financial support measures, first of all, in the electronic format. On the cluster platform, we have, as of today, possibility of 12 measures of support that you can file for online. And we're trying to support participants, provide them with necessary knowledge, consultations about how to receive these support measures. So others webinars take place regularly that clarify various aspects of financial as well as non-financial assistance. At the beginning of pandemics, in the month of March, we launched a special case window, shop window for our cluster participants, of which we have more than 17,000 organizations from all over Russia, not only from Moscow. It unites 33 regions of the country. We collected the most interesting ideas and solutions provided by the participants, aiming at curbing the epidemics and minimizing the economic effects of the epidemics. All of that provides us with the possibility of creation a complex ecosystem of business support to build it in the digital format to the maximum, so that business would be able to receive all the necessary support measures. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. I would like to welcome Kutikov Oleg Amirovich, Deputy Head of the Russian-Kyrgyz Relationship Council. From the year 2014, the Kyrgyz Republic has been integrating in international republic. So we would like to ask him about the measures of supporting small medium-sized business in Kyrgyzstan and your role, the role of your fund in this process. Thank you very much. Thank you, dear participants. I would like to say hi to everyone. Unfortunately, Mr. Kudyakov could not be present here right now. He is at a very important meeting. I will speak on his behalf. I'm head of the special department in our country, and within the framework of our my report, I would like to tell you what small medium-sized business sector is, how important it is for Kyrgyzstan. According to the official statistics of the Statistics Committee of the Kyrgyz Republic, in the last half a year of this republic, 11.5 million enterprises was liquidated, and in comparison with the similar date of the previous year, it increased by 2 times. So we can understand that in the country there is the prevailing sector was the small and middle-sized business, and to accomplish the picture, to make it complete, and for you to better understand the general structure, the volumes, if we take the results of the previous year, the amounts of 44% of the GDP. Well, that's a lot, and what happened now? What has a particular effect? COVID pandemics and the huge deficits in the budget. Well, they're aimed at the improving infrastructure. Well, it speaks for the fact that such a part of, well, if you look at the amount of release, yes, well, this well, you have to understand that there's been a lot of difficulties, according to the experts, according to the international donor that's been working in the Kyrgyz republics. The forecasts vary from 5 to 12%. Of the decrease of decrease in next year, and it's conditioned by the facts of stagnation in some sectors. It's about exactly the stagnation of small and middle-sized business. Well, in this regard, and because it was well, we had to provide a lot of possibilities of post-COVID rehabilitation by the measures of this sector. A fund of development that was created 5 years ago, as it was already mentioned, and it became a tool of integrating our republic into the European Union and supporting its economy. It had implemented several anti-crisis measures, measures to support the activities, business activities, aimed at resumption of the activities and improving infrastructure measures that are provided on the part of the government. Well, we have various accesses to different organizations and different structures to improve the business climate, and among our portfolio, among our users and the users of services and funds financing, that there would be measures that could be taken here. There's certain data. We can see some numbers here. You can see the number of the added value here. You can see various shock situations, and it has a big influence on the country. Well, the general pandemic situation really influenced us a lot. In some cases, it's well, according to what's going on, then as a result of 2020, it will be even bigger problems. Well, we have provided differences on tax payments also. even nullifying the percentage, the credit interest on tourism, because they were not able to pay back. And one of the unique possibilities was the implementation of a special anti-crisis financing program, антикризисное финансирование, on yes, a lot of questions that are also related to this. And as you may see, half of the credit portfolio is a small, medium-sized business. A big part on the amount, as you see, small and medium-sized business that exists in Kyrgyzstan. There was a certain help provided also on the side of the government. So the quality, we try to keep the quality, and all the necessary measures taken by the fund, they kind of move towards the rehabilitation, the support, reorganization, and help, technical, but other than the financial. Well, probably that is it. I would like to wish all the participants of the forum on the small middle-sized business paying special attention on their current situation. At the end of this year, it's going to get difficult, of course, but generally, business is organized in such a way that it can survive. It has its own mechanism of survival, and of course, especially if all the necessary measures get taken on behalf of the government, alongside with the government of the country, and within the framework of the new government's policy in the country. So I would like to wish all of you success and good luck. Big thanks, Oleg. Thank you. I would like to welcome our Chinese friends from the company Tsingtao First Step Group. Mr. Tim Ren, I would like to ask you to speak, because our topic today is narrowed to the small, medium-sized business. Probably you would have you have a lot to tell us outside this topic as well, but today we would like to ask you just how the small and medium-sized business feels in China. You have so many companies that you supported very actively even in the pre-pandemic times. So we would like to know just how many companies have felt the effect of the support that is provided by the government. How comprehensive that is. Is it comprehensive, or is it local, that those that apply receive it and those that don't apply, it's kind of by default considered okay? Is it, which way is it? Could you tell us, please?
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all had a great time. This is Tim Ren, founder of Qingdao First Step Group. It's my great honor and a great opportunity to speak at this forum on behalf of China's small and medium-sized enterprises. Our group is located in Qingdao. With a history of 23 years, we are an industrial enterprise, mainly engaged in import and export. We are involved in footwear manufacturing, fashion brand management in China market, cross-border e-commerce of food and luxury products, and other fields. We have about 5,000 employees. This year has been a very, very challenging year for small and medium-sized enterprises. the impact of the pandemic COVID-19 has led to the restructuring of global industrial and the supply chains. And many industrials has been severely affected by the lateral impact of the international situation. This has put small and medium-sized enterprises, especially those dominated by foreign trade, once again to the great test. As we all know, small and medium-sized enterprises are an important part of maintaining economic vitality and expanding employment in all countries. Their development is closely related to the economic development of the country. Most small and medium-sized enterprises need to rely on the industrial chain and strong market demand for development. But the global outbreak of the epidemic COVID-19 and the impact of international trade situation has greatly reduced the market demand. For example, in 2019, our annual average sales income was 860 million renminbi, 450 million of which came from the first half year. But based on the current order situation, it is estimated that the annual revenue of 2020 will be 70% of that of 2019. From the trade war between China and the United States to the outbreak of the pandemic COVID-19, the Chinese government has also stepped up efforts to stabilize foreign trade and foreign investment. The government has also introduced various policies to ensure the development of our small and medium-sized enterprises in order to maintain reasonable and abundant liquidity and to increase monetary credit support. The government has introduced relevant policies on reducing burden and fees and tax policies. This requires the persistent joint efforts of the government and enterprises. In the long run, we should vigorously support small and medium-sized enterprises, activate their development vitality, adopt sustainable measures to promote their sustainable growth, and give favorable policies to promote high-quality economic development. Export-oriented enterprises like ours need new markets, and need to explore new demands. They should complement each other's advantages and develop together. At present, regional economic cooperation also faces new challenges and new choices. The SCO countries that have lent each other a helping hand are also in difficulties. And in this situation, we need to support each other. At present, it will be a beneficial attempt for China to combine international cooperation with domestic local development and create a new mode of cooperation. The SCO member states also have diversified economic advantages and sufficient resources. In fact, they can better expand investment and trade cooperation to alleviate the unfavorable factors in the overall environment. This forum is a very good opportunity to fully explore the possibility of deeper economic cooperation among the SCO countries, promote people-to-people connectivity, and open up new markets. Deepen cooperation and strengthen unimpeded channels. Eurasia is a huge regional market with huge development potential. But currently, trade among SCO member states accounts for only 5% of the total trade volume. Our mutual trade still has much room for improvement. The SCO has mainly cooperated in governmental affairs. The role of the market has not yet been fully played. We need to make more efforts and find more direct channels to understand market demands and strengthen economic and trade cooperation. Governments should set up platforms to facilitate the effective docking between enterprises and private demands. Businesses and consumers between our countries must strengthen their cooperation and understanding in depth and breadth. If countries can create various platforms for small and medium-sized projects, such as manufacturers platforms, raw material platforms, product platforms, to promote enterprises, projects, raw materials and product, share good things, good services, good projects with each other. They will be able to complement each other's advantages. The SCO countries are close neighbors with quite different culture. To carry out innovative cooperation, we need to be more open, stable, market-oriented. Only in this way can our small and medium-sized enterprises feel at ease to increase international exchanges and cooperation. Regional digitalization continues to strengthen the SCO's online trading platform. In view of the market development problems facing small and medium-sized enterprises, as well as trade barriers for public resources, we need to increase the market correlation among countries. Emerging markets are rising rapidly, and we are seeing the role of digital economy in difficult times like this year's pandemic. Now that the SCO has become the important part of global economic development, we should pay more attention to the development of e-commerce and digital economy. In 2019, the number of overseas online shopping users in China reached 155 million. And in 2020, the number became almost 235 million. In our company, we have high quality, very competitive products, standardized services, and big data platform for fashion products. We are fully capable of sharing our demands with many SCO countries. We also have demands for raw material, manufacturing info in many SCO countries. So in order to support small and medium-sized enterprises, we need to expand cross-border trade among SCO member states, develop cross-border e-commerce, promote regional integration of digitalization, network, intelligentization, establish an online trade platform among SCO countries, and actively develop new forms of business such as cross-border e-commerce, retail, direct selling of imported goods. We will encourage consumption to pick up as soon as possible. The government needs to provide adequate protections in terms of payment, logistic, customs clearance, commodity inspection, and after-sales services. Facilitating the economic transformation and upgrade member states and adopting online cross-border e-commerce models is to exchange needed goods and enhance mutual understanding. It's also a great way to get to know each other, help each other grow in the face of adversity. Policy support to reduce the cost. In the current market situation, what hinders development of small and medium-sized enterprises is actually the problem with cost of all aspects. It is hoped that the government will reduce tariffs as much as possible or trade between the member states of SCO. We should continue to discover and solve problems in our cooperation, jointly explore the vast international market, promote the health development of small and medium-sized enterprises. We need to work together to overcome challenges, including the epidemic and international situation. We look forward to a more open, orderly, and in-depth SCO cooperation. We look forward to close economic ties, which is not only what small and medium-sized enterprises expect, but also to the well-being of the people around the world. Thank you very much. Very nice to meet you all. This is my speech. Thank you.
Спасибо большое, господин Рен.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ren. Very informative.
Уважаемые коллеги,
Dear colleagues,
на этом хотел бы подвести
I would like to sum up and to sum up our present meeting. I hope that we'll manage to meet each other offline. I hope for this, and then our event will be more lively because, of course, online cannot be held with such effectiveness as offline events, but nevertheless, because the situation now does not give us another choice, I'm really thankful for everyone who participated, who found the time and who listened to our speeches. And because anyway, independent on what happens, we need to strengthen our cooperation. And for the sake of this, we need to participate in this online events. Many thanks once again. I hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.
Спасибо. До свидания.
Thank you very much and goodbye.